This is Jeff. Anybody else on?
Hey, Jeff, this is Travis.
Hey. Give me just a minute to get set up. Hopefully everybody shows up. Oops.
Hey, Jeff, is the skills this weekend, is that Saturday and Sunday or just on Saturday?
Oh, no, I just killed my PowerPoint. Just Saturday, but we can get together on Sunday if anybody needs anything.
Okay.
Can you figure out what I did wrong here? I just had the lecture up, and then I was trying to close my open windows, and I killed it. Lectures. All right. Can you see my screen?
I cannot. I just called in.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'm here just to listen.
That's fine too. I'll run through it, and if you're the only person, then we'll. I guess we'll have a discussion. But I'll still run through the slides because we're recording it. So.
Okay, good deal. Normally, what I do is I watch the PowerPoints later on in the week whenever they're posted on YouTube.
I figured. And it's funny, too, because, the other instructors, they're all, I don't know if anybody's, attending lecture. And I was like, I have a feeling everybody's just watching the replay. Which is, it's good and bad. As an instructor, it's hard to get feedback. And you don't know if people absorbed it or if you don't know if you did a good job, did you present it well or did you, could you have done better? But I think it's something that we can get used to because, I do think that doing this once a week or nearly once a week is the way we used to do it was once a month. And so then everybody hurries up and crams, the couple of days before and a couple of days after, and then you forget about it for a month, and then when you come back, you're rusty, and I hope this will be a little more smooth. And then you can go back and rewatch all the lectures if you want just before the test. So.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I saw your email about the National Sea Patrol stuff. I got on there and got I'm a candidate, so I guess it sends you a notification. But okay. I'll get Elena on that tonight. Get her portion in.
Yep. Yeah, because they won't give me a copy of the exam for you unless you're registered. I guess they're afraid people are going to copy it and distribute it and stuff like that. So they've really clamped down on that, and they say, when you schedule your exam, let's see, we're scheduled for the 19th. So that means by the 5th, everybody has to be registered or they won't give me a copy of the test. So.
By the 5th of August?
Is what?
By the 5th of August?
Yeah.
So like 3 days, 2 days, 3 days?
And I talked to Barney about it, and I said, look, if anything goes wrong, are you okay if we just push the exam back a little bit? And he's like, absolutely not. I will be available one day and one day only. I said, all right then, because the other thing that they're pretty strict on is it has to be proctored by an IT. So
okay.
My thought was, IT is instruction. So my original thought was, well, that's okay. We'll just get, college student or one of the lifties or somebody to come in and do it, but we can't. So it's got to be, and we only have 3 ITs. So looks like the 19th will be a hard date, and I thought somebody was not able to make it, and so we'll have to figure out a makeup date, but we'll get that done one way or another. So let's see, who else do we have online? I see two others.
I think me and Elena will be there for August 19th. I don't think there's any issues with that.
Okay.
My biggest concern was the October, I think it was October 14th.
14th.
The day we're doing.
We have some, not rule-wise. I mean, we can really do it any time because the course is, I deliberately scheduled it. I think the end date is December. I think I scheduled the end date for the course as the first day of the ski season. But, you know, we want to get it over with as quickly as we can. So we'll work, you know, try to work it in. My biggest task is you have to have an IT for that as well. And so technically the only one that we don't need is me. But I'd really like to be there. But we need an IT there, and we need a couple of instructors at least to run the scenarios. So we'll find a way to get those done.
Okay, thank you.
So just make sure you pass the written, otherwise it's pointless.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see. Are you guys seeing my screen now? Do you see Chapter 4 Triage?
I'm not in a place where I can look at your screen.
Is everybody on mute? I see Estella, and I see two other anonymous people. Oh, three more. Oh, okay. Estella sent me a message. Okay, gotcha. So you just muted. Okay, good. So I will close this down. Since it's just me running, I may not be able to see, you know, if you text me something or message me something. So, you know, just take yourself off mute and let me know. So, oh, was that somebody else that joined? Otherwise, I'll get started. Nope. Okay, I'm going to run through this. So what I did was there's you know, the NSP does a pretty good job on incident command and triage, but I found it a better presentation that hopefully it's a little bit more engaging, and it's by the Quincy EMS department, and they were the first responders at the Boston Marathon bombing, and so I'm going to run through theirs, but I'm just going to run you through only the things you got to know on here for the written exam, and then we'll do the other lecture with theirs. So at any rate, this is, you're going to want to know, this will probably be a test question. What is the National Incident Management System? It's a framework for managing emergency situations involving multiple jurisdictions. In other words, a way to make, you know, different departments work together. Could be a test question. The benefits, you will want to memorize these bullets because chances are Chapter 4, you will probably see 2 questions, I would guess, from the chapter on there. But they usually get into the technical things like what is the incident command officer's role in the, you know, there's something like that, or what is the role of the communications officer. So it'll be probably something technical, and it could be something about how to rate a patient, which we're going to go over. Anyway, so memorize these bullets: chain of command, management by objectives, span of control, personal accountability, integrated communication, and resource management. If I go too fast or you don't get it, let me know. I would definitely know the 4 components. I've seen that come up more than once on a test. Command and management, preparedness, resource management, communications, and information. So does that make sense to everybody, those components? I mean, I think it does. So I'm going to go on. That shows you the incident commander. So These are your sections that manage an incident. Incident command is the people in charge. They control everything from the central place in a safe zone. Operations section, they're going to be the ones that get, you say, hey, go take 6 backboards over there. They're going to be the ones that do it. Planning, that's hopefully done before the incident ever happens. So that's Kathy and Fred and, Hill management, and they're saying, in an incident, here's who's in charge, here's where they go. There's a committee, and they vote on how things are going to happen, resources allocated, all that. Logistics, those are the people that decide, hey, put the fire trucks over here, get the quick splints over there, get this, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, you have finance. How are you going to get paid for it? Incident command first establishes any incident, managed by incident commander. I'm not going to bore you too much with this. This lecture is in your folder, so I would just review it. Anything that you're not understanding, email me, call me, we'll go over it. But I think it's kind of self-explanatory. These are your levels of staff, and I'm not going to spend a time on that either unless any of you really want it. Op section, I'm going to skip through these. Section chief, branches. There's your people meeting. There's been an incident. They're getting everything together. Planning section, we talked about that. You get a committee, you discuss how things are going to go. Logistics, you're just going to support, make sure that the things that are needed get where they're going to. Out of public view, I guess that's a good point. Scalable. Finance, I think you got that figured out, I hope. So OEC technician might be, you could be an incident commander, you could be there on a day when Fred is, off the hill and Kathy's on the chairlift when it breaks down, and she might be one of the injured people, so guess what? You're in charge. So that's one of the reasons why we do this module. We want everybody to at least have the capability to step up and do this. And of course, if there is someone else more experienced available, and you're not comfortable doing it, you can defer to somebody else. But, it's entirely possible you might be one of, last year, me and Tommy were on the hill. It wasn't a mass casualty, it was a single person, but we had one person go out of bounds and go missing, and at 4:30, and so he and I were on the hill till about 1 a.m. with others, but there were only, there was a team of 5 that went out looking for him, and there were a team of 3 or 4 pros back in the patrol room, and then I think in addition to Fred, and I'm not even sure if Kathy was there that day, but in addition to them, we had maybe 4 volunteers, maybe 5, and that was about it. There were not that many people. They called Justin back for the search and rescue, called in the state police and all that, but we were down to a very small crew, say from about 6, 7 o'clock until I think State Patrol got there about midnight. So anyway, that's it could be scaled back even further from that, and you could be the incident commander for a while. So anyway, I'm going to go on. Medical branch director, yes, you could be, likely not. And of course, if it's this group that's on the phone right now, one of you that's a nurse would probably become a medical branch director in an incident because you're the most skilled. Triage, we're getting there. So your triage is going to have a triage officer. The goal is to provide the maximum amount of care to the maximum amount of patients in the minimum amount of time, and also to keep good records and sort and figure out how everything shook out so that, when we sort out all the chaos, we know what we're looking at. Treatment organized by the group officer. They're going to come along behind the triage team, and they're going to actually provide the care. The triage people don't provide the care themselves. Transportation, kind of obvious. We're going to have 10 ambulances show up from multiple jurisdictions. They're going to take them away, maybe helicopters. We're going to have a transportation coordinator do that. Triage, and I may get ready to, well, you know what, I'll skip through it really fast here. Here's your different. Oh, did I skip one? I guess so. You've heard me say MCI, mass casualty incident. That's 2 or more patients. So if we have two patients, we have an MCI. We're probably not going to establish all these teams for an MCI for 2 patients, but we're certainly going to call in resources, and there is an element of triage involved. One person has a broken femur, the other person has a broken wrist. You treat the femur first. So anyway, I'll let you read the bullet points on your own. So first system we're going to talk about is ID Me, and the 4 categories are immediate, delayed, I'm coming back, minimal, and expectant. So let's go through what those mean. So immediate is category red. That person will die unless you immediately intervene. And like we say, ABCs. If they're bleeding out, if they're unconscious, if they're not breathing, they're red. Delayed is yellow, meaning they need medical attention, but they can wait. They have, a broken tibia. You know what? You're not going to die from that. I know it's painful. I know it sucks, but we're going to leave you there for a minute in a safe place, and we're going to go on and check out all the other patients first. We'll be right back. No problems with ABCs on that one. M is minimal or green. And you'll find that between these different triage systems, the colors are the same. So minor injuries, they can go untreated for hours. We call them the walking wounded. Don't confuse that with the walking dead. They are what they are. Minor scrapes and bumps, could even be bruises, sprains, something you'd consider a little more major. But they are able to transport themselves and probably able to care for themselves. So that's a green. And the last one is E, expectant. I don't like that term because to me that means pregnant, but what they mean is we expect you to die. Little chance of survival, already dead. The person's their skull is open and their brains are on the floor. There's no chance. So, and then we're going to talk about triage tags, which I will show you. So here's a person being declared black, dead, expectant. So this is a tag, a triage tag. If you look at these, when we were up at the top of the mountain, I did get them out and show somebody. There's also a set of tags at the bottom in the patrol room. If you get them out, just remember they're official. They got to stay there. We check for those every day to make sure that they're there and that they're fully stocked. So just keep in mind how important they are, and don't let them wander off or sit on a bed or something like that. But this is what the tag looks like. You are going to very rapidly fill it out, or better yet, get somebody to come along behind you and fill it out. And what you're going to do is hang it around the person's neck, and then you're going to rip off. So if they're green, you leave all the tabs on. If they're yellow, you rip off green, and so on until you get to the top. If they're black, well, you ripped all off but the black tab. And then you're going to mark down what they need and so on, where the injury is. But usually somebody's going to come along behind you and make those marks on the little diagram there. So any questions about the tag? Pretty straightforward. Hearing nothing, I'm going to move on. This one, START, is the system that we use at Ski Apache. It's probably the most common system in the United States. It stands for Simple Triage and Rapid Treatment. And I almost guarantee that'll be a test question, or you will see it at some point within refreshers and the other things. It definitely will come up. Simple Triage, Rapid Treatment. It basically is the same as ID Me, uses the same colors, about the only difference, which I think would apply to any of these, is the phrase 32 can do. And we'll go over that in a minute. I'll tell you what that means, how to apply it. We'll actually go through it. But that could actually apply to any of the other systems as well. Then you also have SALT, Sort, Assess, and Life-Saving Triage. You have MASS, Move, Assess, Sort, and Send. And CIT, Continuous Integrated Triage. I'm not going to go over those systems. We don't really use those. We don't use them at Ski Apache, so We're going to focus on start. So this diagram, hopefully everybody can see it, is, and I'm actually going to do it, I'm going to walk you through it, and I'm going to do it just like I'm doing it in a real situation. So your first assessment is, are these people able to walk? And the easiest way to find you're walking wounded is to stand up and you just say, "This is Jeff, I'm from Ski Patrol. We have had an incident. I need everybody's attention. Can you hear me?" And you'll hear them scream and cry and yes. Say, "If you can hear the sound of my voice, I want you to stand up immediately and walk to me now." And you stand right where you want your walking wounded to be. If we're using colored tarps, a great place to stand would be right on the green tarp. And you'd be surprised because all these people, they want help. They're desperate. They're scared. They're, you know, nearly in shock. They will stand, if they're able, they will stand up and they will walk to you. And as they do that, you've already answered. They have ABCDs because they, you know, they're screaming and crying, airways open. If they're not spurting blood, you know that they have their circulation, and they're able to walk. They're ambulatory, so therefore they're green. If, or I should say when, those people all come over, they sit on the green, you got bruises, cuts, you might even have something a little more serious like a piece of glass in somebody's face. They're still walking wounded. You say, good, what I need for you to do is I need everybody to stay here. Somebody will be along right after me. They need to take down your information. Do not move. Do not leave. Do not wander off because you could have injuries that we don't know about that could get worse, and then we won't know where you are. And you want to set that in their mind. So it took me longer to explain that than to actually do it. That should take a matter of seconds, and you've immediately cut a huge swath out of your patients, and you've separated them off to the side so that now you've got a field with a lot less noise in it with the patients you really need to get to. So now you want to set a course through those patients and say, I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to work my way toward the south, and I'm going to hit each one on the way, and hopefully I get all the way to the end. And we're trying to do it as rapidly as possible. So our next, the next steps are done patient by patient. And by the way, on the greens, it's still patient by patient. So if you have a person walk over to you with an arterial bleed, obviously they are not green, they're red, they need immediate treatment. You know, stop the blood flow and move on. And then tag them red and get somebody else. You say, you go over there and sit on the red mat. So that's that. Next check is respirations present. So remember I said 32 can do. Respirations, we check for present. Obviously, if they're not breathing, that's really bad. So let's go down that track first. You look at your first patient, they're not breathing. When we're in a triage situation, multiple patients, and you need to treat as many as rapidly as possible, you don't have a lot of time to spend on individual patients. So you try one time to reposition the airway, and you see if that restores their breathing. If it does not, they are black. They are dead. If they begin breathing on their own after you reposition their airway, a good thing to do is to go grab one of your green people if you need to, but better yet, a bystander who's not injured, and say, you, come here right now. I need you to watch this person and tell me if he stops breathing. And you want to, if you can afford it, you want to assign a babysitter to sit over that person and watch, and you tag them red. So red or black, that's 30. I'm sorry, that's respirations present would tell you the difference between black and red. So now we get to another patient. They're breathing. We ask, are they breathing their respirations more than 30 per minute or less than 30 per minute? So if you think about that for a second, that's you don't have to sit and take, put your hand on their shoulder and take the respirations over 30 seconds. That's too long. If you look at them, 30 breaths per minute is 2 seconds per breath. So count 1 or 2. And if it's 1001, 1002, 1003, okay, they're good. They're not red. We're going to go on. If they're well, that's a lot more than 30 per minute. That might be 120 per minute. Well, okay, that maybe not, maybe 60. But anyway, it's a very high rate of respiration. They are going to be red. So greater than 30, red. Less than 30, move on. So the next question you ask about your patient is you do a quick capillary refill on their finger. You can do it on their earlobe. You can, if it's not cold outside, you can press your finger under their cheek. You can get a capillary refill in a lot of places, and we've talked about this for CMS. If it's less than 2, they reversed the yes and no. That's odd. Anyway, if it's less than 2, that's good. You go on. If it's greater than 2 seconds, something's going on with their circulatory system, they get tagged red. So you take the person, you say, sir, sit down right here. You may not be able to get them onto a red mat. You tag them red. So far we've got breathing, yes, no. Greater than 30, so that's our 30. Now we've got our 2, cap refill less than 2 seconds. Now we're going to do can do. So can do means you can follow simple commands. So you walk up to the next patient. They're breathing rapidly. They have an extended cap refill, or they've got an arterial bleed, something like that. You take care of the bleeding. Now your next task is to, I'm sorry, if they've passed. So they have low respirations. They have a good cap refill. We're next checking for mental status. So can you follow simple instructions? You say, my name is Jeff. Can you repeat it back to me? Yes, your name is Jeff. Okay, good. I think you're good. Where are you today? I'm at Ski Apache. Good. If I asked you to, if you didn't have a broken leg, could you get up and walk over to that red mat? Yes, I can. Okay, they're A&O times 4, right? If they're like, huh? Who? Where am I? No, they're not. You don't take very long to assess their mental status. We're not going to do, the 3 questions and red and blue and a name a color and a person and what time of day is it. We're not going to go through all of that. It's give them something very simple, like here, squeeze my hand. What's your name? And if they can respond, great. If they cannot, then they are red. If they can follow simple commands, they're yellow. So that was kind of fast, but I think if you remember 32 can do, or if you want to break it down into like this tree, it would be walking wounded, come here. Now we go, are you breathing? Yes. Now we go 32 can do, and that tells you your color. Does anybody want to run through that again? I'll give you a couple of seconds to say, absolutely, I need it, otherwise I will go on. Okay, that is basically all that we need to cover for the test part of triage. And these are functional areas of ICS: incident command, operations planning, logistics, and finance. You may see a question on that on the written exam. Chapter summary. 4 triage categories. We have ID-Me. 4 triage categories under ID-Me: immediate, delayed, minimal, expectant. We also have START, simple triage, rapid transport. Those are the 2 I would know. Just be aware that the others exist. Dynamic process. Oh, okay, I skipped over this. Triage is a dynamic process that may need to be performed more than once. So you go through, you tag a person yellow, all of a sudden he starts bleeding, profusely. He just became red. You go through, there's a person, they're standing up, they're talking to you, and all of a sudden they start wandering off the side of a cliff. And you say, hey, don't come back here. They're like, I'm going to go get my car. Okay, they are now red. People can go the other direction. You could have a person that looked like they were bleeding profusely. You put some gauze on them, they held it there for a couple minutes, now they're not bleeding at all. They're up, walking around, helping out with other people, they might be yellow. So I think that covers it. We use START Triage at Ski Apache, and that is it for the NSP lecture. I'm going to go back, and I really wanted to show you this because I think it lays it out a bit better. There was audio, but I'm going to be the audio. So I went to, we had an interesting training event. I used to be our fire marshal for our building. I worked for a major finance firm, and one of my new responsibilities was they said, okay, we want you to be trained for a mass shooter. So, and I worked for a very large finance company, very well known, that was a target, and they actually brought in Israeli commandos to train us on mass shooters. Not the shooting back part, but the, gosh, 10 of your colleagues have just been shot and killed. You need to get as many people out of the building, and then the rest you're going to have to do triage on. So they presented this, which was done by Quincy AEMS, Advanced EMS, as a result of the Boston bombing. So I thought, whoops. There we go. So these are the objectives of the lecture. I think you'll see they're pretty much the same as we went through. They have triage, mass casualty. We've already defined those. Triage, treat as many possible patients as efficiently as possible in as little time as possible. Mass casualty is any 2 or more patients. Review dynamics of start simple triage and rapid transport. Smart tagging system, we showed you the tag, so we'll revisit. Competence in start triage method, we're not going to do that now, we will do that on Saturday. Demonstrate competency in the smart triage, tag, and jumpstart. Now, we're not really going to do that, but we'll play with some things. So we are going to talk about start triage. What is start what does start stand for? Hopefully you're all saying it to yourselves because I can't hear you. Simple triage and rapid transport. What is a mass casualty incident? Any event that overwhelms available resources. So if you have 1 patroller, 2 patients is a mass casualty incident. If we've got 10 patrollers and 30 patients, that's a mass casualty incident. But the very simple NSP definition for the test is any event with 2 or more patients. Available resources, that could be ambulances, beds, hospital beds. It could be the number of backboards at the ski hill. It could be natural, accidental, or intentional, meaning, bad actors. So this is in a little bit of contrast to NSP. Is there a set number of casualties we consider a mass casualty or disaster? No. NSP, just remember, defines it as 2 patients or more, but the official, I believe it's managed by the Department of Transportation, their official definition is any incident that overwhelms available resources. Types of common MCIs, and I think, I'm not going to read you every bullet, but I think you can look at those and go, yep, that's an MCI. Could anybody, and I guess take yourselves off of mute for 1 minute, give me an example of an MCI that you would see at a ski hill. Oh, everybody's so quiet. I'm going to count to 5, and I'm going to blurt it out.
Avalanche.
There we go. All right. Avalanche is a good one. That was probably number 1 on my list. Not quite so much at Ski Apache, but certainly at Taos, anywhere in Colorado, and so on. Give me another one.
At Ski Apache, plane crash.
Well, okay, that actually is very true. Plane crash is good. Actually, at Ski Apache, you could have a missile go awry and land, I don't know that that's ever happened, but, you got to wonder, what if one of those things that's supposed to land at or strike at White Sands were to, go astray? I was thinking, what kind of equipment do we operate on the hills that could cause an MCI? Something that you ride. Think about a what about a windy day? What could happen?
Ski lift fall down or something.
Yeah, you could have a lift. Well, we just lost. Never mind. I'm not sure I want to make it public, but we had a lift incident recently that I think some of you are aware of. I guess it's public record. Chair 6 burned, and we're getting it replaced this summer. The gondola, you know, they're very careful about it, but if you got sudden high winds, you got some other incident happen, the gondola could derail, and you could have, you know, that would be a big one because you got multiple people per car. I'm trying to think, how about, actually, we could have had one. Does anybody know what made the news last year? I want to say it was New Year's Day or the next day. This freak snowstorm blew in about 2 o'clock, and the ski hill started making announcements. If you don't have four-wheel drive, leave now. And of course, all the patrons went, yeah, right. And they all got stuck on the roadways. So you could have had casualties. You know, you could have had a 6-8 car pileup. You could have a bunch of cars because it was a blizzard. You know, you could have had a bunch of cars drive off the cliff, and that could have been a big one to manage. I mean, one car with 6 people in it drives off a cliff, and that's going to overwhelm our resources. So anyway, I won't spend a whole lot more time on it, but I think you get the idea. So this is the one that they were talking about, was the Boston bombing. If you're not familiar with it, there was one bomb that exploded, and then I don't know if they say here, but sure they do. 13 seconds apart. So one went off, and then just, if you couldn't be more cruel, right when everybody's in chaos and running away, and you know, a lot of them are running toward the other bomb goes off. Placed near the finish line, you know, I mean, I can't imagine anything more inhumane than to try to take a runner's legs away. And so that's some of the aftermath. I don't think those are red tarps on the ground. Blast blew out windows on adjacent buildings, no structural damage. But think about that. So what's the first thing you do on scene size up if you were on this incident and you were, say, standing near the finish line but weren't injured in the blast? What scene size up? What's your what does that involve? I'll read through it. So remember ABCDs, you're going to look at, and now we don't have one patient, we've got many, but number of patients, mechanism of injury, and also big one, scene safety, and if possible, BSI. So, you know, I was on a business trip in New Orleans, and a woman fell on the street and actually had an open fracture of her leg, and you know, I did my best to help, but I didn't have gloves with me, and the ambulance came pretty quick, so it really wasn't a big deal. But you know, I was thinking, gosh, you know, I don't know what she's got or what she's going to give me. I'll probably never see her again because I'm in a strange city, you know, and so ever since then, I carry a pair of gloves in my backpack. You know, any other like little bags or things I have, I keep a pair of gloves in just so that I'll be prepared for something. So you might have it. You put on your BSI, assess, you know, holy crap, a bomb just went off. We could have structural damage, so I don't want to go into that building. There could be another bomb, so the scene might not be safe at all. I can't just go running over there. You know, you're going to want to help, but you need to assess all those things, and that's the same stuff we keep going over and over. ABCDs, scene size up, scene safety, number of patients, mechanism of injury. And so, you know, think about mechanism of injury. We're going to have blast injuries, shrapnel, puncture wounds, burns. You could have eviscerations. It's that one is going to be really bad. Some runners continue to cross the line till nearly 3 o'clock. 7 minutes after the explosions. Rescue workers and medical personnel on hand to assist runners and bystanders rushed to help the wounded in the immediate aftermath. 264 people. Think about that, is clearly overwhelming your resources. injured were treated at 27 local hospitals, and at least 14 people required amputations as a result of the blasts. There's some more of the aftermath. And there again, just think scene safety, mechanism of injury, and what am I going to see? BSI is definitely, if you ever see a scene like that, BSI is very important, even if you've got to steal it. Grab some of those plastic bags and wrap your hands. Many people dropped backpacks and other bags as they fled, requiring each to be treated as a potential bomb. So there's a scene size-up element. A number of news reporters stated that more bombs have been found nearby. The bomb squad said they would perform a controlled explosion on 600 block, but in the end, no other bombs were found. Navy sent a bomb squad. But limitations: Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency suggested people trying to contact those in the vicinity use text messages instead of voice calls because of crowded cell phone lines. So that's something, think about Ski Apache. We already have kind of limited cell phone availability out there. So if we ever do have a mass casualty incident, you're going to have tens of people, and I hope it's tens and not hundreds, but you're going to have a lot of people trying to get on their cell phone at the same time. And so one role that one person will need to play is to go around and say, everybody please, if it's not critical, use your cell phone, please get off so that we can get calls in and out as we need. Let the people know that if they're stranded on a chairlift or something, stranded in a certain area, let them know that, hey, we have you covered, we know where you're at, we will come and rescue you soon, but I need you to try to stay off your cell phone unless you need immediate medical attention. Try to keep those lines clear. And that goes for incoming too. People are going to be calling the patrol room like crazy, and we have to be prepared to say, I got to hang up on you. I got calls from EMS coming in. So, that shows about shutting down cell phone service and all that. Red Cross helped out. Boston Police Department set up a helpline. Victims help prevent other attacks. I'm going to skip over some of these. I'm going to skip over how they trained the bombers and all that. We will go to, this is just the types, and this is posted, so if you're interested in the whole rundown, you can read it. So here's where they activated their emergency systems. 7 arrived nearly at once, all required immediate surgery. And these, if you keep in mind what we just went through, and we're going to go through it again, the triage system, that's why it's so important, is you go up, this person, we can put a tourniquet on him, now he's a red, but we've saved him, we can go on to somebody else. And put on that tourniquet is 30 seconds, maybe a minute. These are just the hospitals, who they received, how many. What would you do? If an explosion, bombing, or event which created a large number of injured, dying people happened while you were on duty, what would you do to care for the injured? How would you sort the priority of treatment, and how would you prioritize the transport? So you would use the smart tag triage system. And we don't use smart tags, we use a variant of it, but anyway. So what is triage? Triage is the process of prioritizing or sorting of sick or injured people for treatment according to the seriousness of the condition or the injury. Or, as I said, providing the most amount of treatment to the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. Remember, you can't commit to one-on-one care. That is going to be the heartbreaker because all of our training, we spend all this time working one-on-one or maybe one-on-two, and you're going to want to help this person. They're going to be screaming, crying, bleeding, and you have to say, listen, I got to move on. I will be back in a few minutes, or somebody else will be along to help you. You have to be fast, 30 seconds or less per patient. I would shoot for maybe under 10 seconds unless they need an intervention. Limited treatment is provided. Open airways, clear the airway with a finger sweep if needed, and control major bleeding. That's going to be about all that we do. The only time you would reposition, say, a fracture would be normally ski patrol protocol is for compromised CMS, you make one and only one attempt to reposition. In our situation, you would only reposition it if that was necessary to, say, roll the person on their side and check for breathing or something like that. Otherwise, if if they have a broken leg, they're going to have to sit for a minute till we get somebody around to them. Primary and secondary triage. Primary triage, you're the first contact with the people. You assign the triage category. Secondary triage, that usually is the person that comes along right behind you. It's the ongoing process that takes place after the patient has been moved to a treatment or holding area and is awaiting transport. So that's your reevaluation. This person was yellow, but guess what? They're starting to fade. Now they're going to be red. This person was red. We've controlled their bleeding. Their breathing is normal. Their circulation is normal. They might get bumped up to yellow. Not sure if anybody ever gets bumped up to green, but it could happen. Triage categories, red, yellow, green, black. Anybody want to, without reading the slide, for those of you that can see it, anybody want to tell me what red is? Oh.
Critical?
Critical or immediate. They need attention now. How about yellow?
Intermediate? Or delayed?
Delayed, yep.
Delayed.
Yep. And then green?
Those are minor injuries.
Yep. What's a nickname for the green? Not to be confused with the popular TV show.
I don't know. Do you know?
The walking...
Oh, the walking. Wait,
Not Walking Dead.
The walking injured.
If we get Walking Dead, I'm just saying, Walking Dead, I'm out. I will not be participating in triage.
I'll be running away. Fast as possible.
Well, no, because I'm going to throw you to the ground as bait. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that.
That's cruel.
Anyway, green is walking wounded, and then black.
Deceased.
Yep. I like that so much better than expectant. So we have START. START stands for what? Simple triage and rapid treatment. How was rapid transport?
It's treatment.
Okay,
Wait,
I was wrong.
Is it treatment or transport?
Is what?
Is it treatment or transport?
I think I'm wrong. I thought it was rapid transport, but this is rapid treatment, and that makes more sense.
Okay.
But the goal is to get him into the ambulance and off the hill, so that's probably what I'm thinking of. But yeah, rapid treatment. Start system, I will go through a little bit faster than we did last time, but focus on signs and symptoms. It's real fast. You can see the triage tags there. Actually, I think those are tags. A lot of places do have tarps that they throw out on the ground and say, get these people to this tarp. So they have RPMS, respiratory, pulse, mental status. We have 32 can do. Let's see. I thought they had that in this slide too, but you can see it's the same thing. Respiratory effort, that's your 30. Pulses, perfusion, that's your less than 2 seconds, and then mental status is your can do. Using START triage, evaluate victims for one of 4 categories: walking wounded, delayed, immediate, deceased. Here's the same. I like our NSP flowchart a little bit better. Anybody want to go over it again? I'm going to skip. So remember, this is not our policy. It's Quincy EMS policy. But it basically says how you're going to triage them. So the first step is, like I was saying, clear out all ambulatory patients. That means walking wounded, or ambulatory means walking. Tag them green. So everybody stand up. If you can hear the sound of my voice, I want you to walk to me right now. And as they walk up to you, hand them a green tag. Say, put this around your neck. Do not take it off. Somebody will be by to collect your information in a minute. If you need immediate medical attention, raise your hand. And some of them might, and you're like, no, you have a scrape. Then we're going to assess them based on RPMs or 32 can do. The greens, once they walk towards you, designate a place for them to go. someone needs to tag them green. And that's true. It could be me as the person conducting triage. It could be a helper if I've already got somebody with me. Somebody needs to stay with them and keep them informed. Your walking wounded will wander off, and you'll have to constantly reassess them. If you don't, well, it's just like it shows, herding cats. You've got to get them all into one place and persuade them strongly to stay there. And sometimes the greens, they're green now, but you don't realize they have internal bleeding, and they wander off and collapse and die. So very important to do that, and to keep somebody to monitor them. Let's see, could be spread out over a large area, several floors. Think about a chairlift derailment. You could have people spread off from the top of the mountain to the bottom. So you may need to do the green. If you can hear my voice, come to me, because the people up at the top of the hill didn't hear you. And then you do try to get them all corralled in one place. Now we do respiratory breathing over 30 or less than 10, they get tagged red. So if they're barely breathing, they're also red. Not breathing, and I believe that also includes agonal respirations that we talked about in CPR. That means manually open their airway. If they start breathing, they're red. If they don't breathe, they're black. Breathing 10 to 30, go to the next step. Next step is pulses or perfusion. Check for radial pulse. And we have our super rapid fire way, which is cap refill. You can push your thumb into somebody's forehead if that's the only exposed spot. You'll see it blanch white and then turn pink again. If it's less than 2 seconds, you're good. If they have a good strong pulse, they're good. You go to the next step. If they do not have a radial pulse, or if they do not have cap refill, then they are red. Mental status. So they passed the first two. Now we go on, we give them a question. Squeeze my hand. What's my name? What color is my jacket? If they can answer you, they're yellow. If they cannot follow it, then they're red. Triage tags. We will show, well, I showed you the other tag. These are smart. We don't use these. We use the ones like the one in the NSP lecture. I think part of it is because we don't necessarily want to slap a big black tag on somebody that says dead, and then that ends up on YouTube. So, the tag that we have is a little more palatable, I guess. But you can see the smart tag, they're getting sample, they're, getting basic information, where to reconnect with these people. And it's pretty similar to what we used. So you're marking, the injury that you found on the body and all that. And then they're incorporating, whoa, uh-oh. We may have just lost the lecture. Can anybody see it?
We still see something, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, mine just came back. It's suddenly like, whoa. Okay, give me 1 second. Wow. Huh, I wonder what happened. Okay, here we go. Triage tags, those are the ones we don't use. Well, it appears we are having technical difficulties. Oh, maybe it's just really slow. Wow. Okay. So we talked already about primary and secondary triage. Primary triage is when you take your first pass through all the patients, you assign them a category. Secondary triage is your ongoing assessment, reassessment, has their conditions changed, and they maybe need to go to a different tag. Anyone in the team that can walk is green. And the only caveat to that, I would think, would be they can walk, but all of a sudden they're walking around in a daze and they can't answer any questions. And it's clear that they're going to wander off and, walk into traffic or something. I would tag them differently. Oh, but I do like this. Patient could deteriorate, or you may determine a different priority when you retriage at the scene. Oh, yeah, if a busload of greens is sent to you from the incident site, you can hold them on the bus in the parking lot until you're ready for them. Just make sure somebody boards the bus to see what you have in case anyone needs immediate attention. Yeah, they could start to go downhill. The area for the people tagged black. Establishing a way we would want to do this. We could actually ask Fred about where would we do this, but I would think it would probably be down in the barn or something, because we don't want that to be, you know, have people standing around taking photos and stuff. In the treatment area, patients should be separated as tagged. So there's the tarps I was talking about. Design somebody to oversee the entire treatment area. Additional treatment can be provided while waiting for transport. Secondary triage is ongoing. We keep re-emphasizing that, but that's an important part. Pediatric modifications for Jumpstart. I'm going to skip over it a little bit because we are using, we're going to use Teach and use Start, but we'll just cover it rapid fire. Respiratory effort. You see there's a little bit different. You won't need to know this for the test, so read it. Be aware that kids' respirations are a little different than adults, but so we would modify that a little bit if you got a, you know, if it was a preschool. But at any rate, these are the modifications for kids. And you can see one of the differences: open the airway, no breathing, no pulse, give 5 breaths. Then see if they can recover. Smart triage tag. Let me see if I want to cover any more of this. I think, let's see. I'm actually going to skip through a lot of this, but I would say come back and read it on your own. It has, it's got a lot of really good information in it. And a lot of this related to the Boston bombing. And you know what? More technical difficulties. Oh, and now this is just some questions how you would react. So I'll cut us off there. But last thing I wanted to go through is a couple of modifications. So we're running triage. A bunch of people are injured. You come up to patient number 3, and they're in a red jacket. You roll them over, and there's a cross on it. What are you tagging them? Anybody got an idea? Bueller? You know what? I'm going to flip back to the conference monitoring. So the answer to the question is, if you come across another patroller, generally you're not going to follow Start. You're going to tag them red. Does anybody know why a patroller would be red? You can take yourself off of mute.
Because you wouldn't want them to, like, you wouldn't want people to start going to them for help if they're already hurt.
That's a good point too. The main reason is, say Fred falls off the chairlift. What's everybody in the patrol going to do?
Go help their friend first.
Yeah, they're going to go, oh my God, Fred got injured. You know, when you see your own patroller, it's just going to be a huge distraction. And people that are working on other things are going to all of a sudden want to go help. So if you see another patroller, even though this might sound unfair, you are going to tag that patroller red and give them immediate treatment. Plus, say they're bleeding, you stop the bleeding, you get them all bandaged up, they might be able to help. So what about you, you're going down the line, then you recognize that there's a kid and it happens to be a patroller's kid. What do they get tagged? Even if they're walking wounded. you know? They get tagged at red as well. That's not a privilege of being a patroller. It's because, like, well, my kids are older and now they're all patrollers, but you know, say they were 10 years old, if I were to see my kid wandering around, you know, bleeding from their head, I'm going to be distracted and maybe, you know, abandon my duties to go help them, and I might end up taking 3 or 4 other patrollers out with me, and we might all rush over there and go, oh my God, what's so wrong? You know, are you okay? And now we just left the guy that was not breathing. You know, I don't think that would really happen. I wish, or I would hope that I could perform better than that, but it's possible. You know, when you're under stress, it's very easy to get distracted. So you automatically tag a patroller. I would maybe even on the ski hill extend that to, like, Lifty's kids or ski instructors' kids. Or, you know, if it's Jimmy Mitchell, if it's Susie's husband, we probably would tag him red as a higher priority just because we do not want that to be a distraction. So they would get immediate treatment. Let me think. I think we've covered everything. So unless you have any questions, you know, pipe up. Otherwise, I'll just run you through what we're going to do on Saturday, and we'll call it a night. So on Saturday, there will be a mass casualty incident exercise. Ski Hill aware of it, so they're expecting it. I will not tell you what it is. It could be anything that you would expect to find on a ski hill in the summer or winter. We will not torture people and put them in winter clothing, but it'll be, you know, you should wear sunscreen because it'll be outside. Bring a sun hat. And what we're going to do is say that there's 6 of you. 5 of you will stay in the patrol room and we'll work on whatever you want. Quick splint, traction splint, backboard, anything else. The one victim will be called outside. We'll give you the scenario at that point, and we will say go. We'll follow you with a clipboard, and we're going to make notes on, we know how many patients there are, you do not. So you're going to have to figure out how many patients there are, and the goal is, it's just a game, it's not a test, it doesn't affect your results, but your goal is to try to treat or classify as many patients as you can within, target time is 20 minutes, but I may scale that back to 10 because I may not have all the patients that I need. I hope that I do, but if I have half as many patients, you're going to have to do it twice as fast. You will not treat the patients. At the most, you'll have the supplies that you would have in a butt pack, and, you know, gauze, cravats, etc. You can hand somebody some gauze and say, here, hold pressure on your face. It'll stop bleeding in a couple minutes. Somebody will be by. Your goal is to get as many of them treated as possible. We will count up the numbers and we'll see who gets the best score. I guess the person who gets the best score wins a donut. That's about all I can think of. Or bragging rights. That might even be better. So we'll run through that, and then as soon as we're done, I think there's only going to be 5 or 6 candidates. We may run 1 or 2 patrollers through it just to have fun. And when we're done with that, that might be as quick as an hour, maybe hour and a half. Then the rest of the day is yours to practice as many skills as you want. And I would bring your checkoff sheets out, make sure we check off some skills, and you know, enjoy the day and get as much in as you can. If you want to, and the weather's nice, we could maybe even spend some time up at the top and or hike down or bike down or whatever. So I think that's about it. Oh, how's that? You say that?
Hey, Jeff, it's Nick, man. So I have a bunch of questions after you're done.
Oh, okay. No, go ahead.
So got your email about signing up for the class and everything, but like, I still not a member. I don't think Estella is either. So I can't, like, you know, I try and search for it, but it still finds nothing. Maybe because of the status of what I am on the Ski Patrol website.
Yeah, for the class.
Yeah.
So did you register with NSP? You know, get a login and all that?
Yeah, I did, but Jeff Roberts hasn't added me to the Apache Ski Patrol.
Don't. All right, I will. I will.
I mean, you emailed them with me on it. It just nothing's happened since then.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think.
So, I mean, I'll reply to his email with like my little identification number they give you on the website. But I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you've done everything that you can do, then you know it's up to us. But I will definitely get on him and see that we get you whatever you call it pulled into the patrol and all that.
Yep.
It's as soon as you do that, then you should be able to get on and register for the course.
Yeah, especially since we have to do it pretty much in the next couple of weeks here.
Oh no, by Friday.
Oh, by
Today? This Friday?
Yeah. So, we may have a little bit of leeway, but NSP will only send the number of exams equal to the number of registered candidates. So, if you and we have to order them 2 weeks before the test. So that's.
Is there any way you can check? Like, since you're a member, is there any way you can check who is a member of the Ski Apache Ski Patrol just to see if, like, I'm wrong and maybe he added me and I never got a notification or anything like that?
I never got one either.
I can't. I don't have the ability to see who's on there. I can see who registered for the course, but that's all I get to see. But I will. I'll email Jeff and let him know for sure. I'll do it tonight.
Okay. Yeah, can you put me and Estella on there? Just because both of us. We're not a part of Ski Patrol right now.
Okay, I'll definitely make sure. But you both have logins, right, for NSP?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, whenever you
Elena,
we'll both respond back with like our NSP assigned identification number and thingamajig, so that maybe that's easier than spelling our names, and you can just use the number and find us. But
he should get a notification that says, "Do you approve?" Yes or no, and then he just has to say yes. So.
Well, we can't apply to the Ski Patrol. They have to like add you.
Right. You just
He would never get a notification saying approve or anything. He would have to like go on the website, find us, and then add us.
I think when you set up your online account, it should ask you what patrol you're. I think it says, "Are you registering as a candidate?" And if you say yes, then it asks you what patrol are you affiliating with.
I'm not so sure, Jeff, just because like that didn't happen when I did it. Stelson didn't happen when she did it, but also I watched a video on the Ski Patrol website, which it seemed to like much go towards the process of, which is kind of dumb that it does this, but that the patrol has to find the candidate. The candidate can't just apply to the patrol. That'd make it way easier. But yeah, I can
That's
even like
weird.
try and find the video and send it to you.
I can try it. Let's see what happens if I try to register as a candidate.
I would agree as well, and Elena just did hers, but it definitely you do all your login, and then you hit the candidate button, and then it pretty much stops after that. It says
Yeah.
that
That sounds like
patrol will have to.
In that case, I'll send Jeff the roster, and we'll have to try to get him to work with NSP to figure that out. I mean, worst case, we're just going to have to tell them, hey, we got candidates that need to take an exam. You'll have to bend the rules and send us exams or something. But we'll get it done one way or another. So
yeah, totally. I just wanted to mention that just because I guess I've been kind of a little bit here.
Par for the course when it comes to that website. NSP is it's never quite worked right. So
yeah,
we'll get through it though. We'll figure something out.
Like I said, after this, I'll find the video that like I could see of how it kind of walks you through it, and I'll send it to you just because maybe that'll help. But
okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and it does help. Barney's wife is the regional, the Rocky Mountain Division OEC rep or supervisor, I guess is her title. So she's got a little bit of sway. She can maybe help us. I hope help us smooth way. So.
Yep.
Darn. Well, I thought to be super organized, and I figured I'd have all you guys registered by like the third week of class.
Yeah, it's all good, man. So is it still 10 o'clock on Saturday?
Yep. Let's shoot for 10 o'clock to start. You know, try to be there just a little bit early so that we can get adjusted, and we'll draw lots for who's going to go first, and then we'll hit it.
Okay. Cool.
So, it should be fun. I hope I get enough patients. I mean, if we only have 2 or 3 patients, it won't be much of a mass casualty incident, but we'll do our best. I may become a patient myself and just lay on the ground with the clipboard.
There you go.
So, anyway, yeah. Any other questions or?
No, I mean, I think those are the big things from
Yep.
me, unless Estelle mentioned something about maybe not paying dues if you're active duty military, but I'm not too concerned with it. But
yeah, it wasn't that much though, but it's like saving you $50.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you know anything about that?
So Fred should be on the Hill this Saturday too, and so let's ask him if maybe the Hill will waive. Well, it's not the Hill, it's the patrol, the Ski Apache patrol. They may waive it for active military. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We have no promises, but doesn't hurt to ask. I don't know about Rocky Mountain Division. They may, but you know we can ask too.
Yeah, I know who's Joe. We'll still bring the money, but just
Yeah.
gotta ask about it.
Yep. So, and I think, what else we need to discuss? Oh, how's everybody feeling so far about the exam? The written?
Pretty bad.
No.
Don't worry, I'll be studying a lot. It's not your fault.
I'm good with anatomy stuff. I found out.
So Jeff, I don't have a actually never mind, I do have a syllabus in front of me.
The syllabus?
I think I might be gone again.
Oh no.
Don't you love that? Yeah, I won't be there for the exam.
Written?
Yeah, no, I won't.
Barney is gonna run it. It doesn't necessarily have to be that day, but we can. He's out there fairly frequently, so we can always get with him and say, hey, look, we got to have a makeup. You know, I think for sure if you're out for work or whatever.
Yeah, it's for work.
Yeah, so let's you and me grab Barney, or we can email him or something. But if he can't do it, I can get another IT to do it as well. But yeah, I know he's pretty particular about. If you said, look, I'm just not ready to take the exam, he would say, look, take it because you get a retake anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not that. I'll just be in Arkansas, so like if I was here.
Yeah. So let's touch base with him. I'm not sure if he'll be there on Saturday. He may. And if not, we'll email him and let him know, final count for the exam. And if you're off, we'll just make arrangements if he's going to be out there during the week or something else, and you can get there. We'll right. Done.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Well,
being on.
I think we have a few. In fact, I guess I could look it up. We don't have that many live sessions left. Where is my syllabus? Oh, I know why.
I think we have one left. Well, two more if you include the one that's after the written final, but yeah.
So, yep, we are up to mass casualty incident is this weekend, and then we've got a review session on 8/9, so the Wednesday after. The rest of these are, if you can get out to the mountain and practice, great. The rest are pretty much optional from here on out. But yeah, we've got just a written exam review, so we'll go over, what I expect to see on the test for questions and that kind of thing. And hopefully everybody passes the written and we don't even have to worry about retakes.
Fingers crossed, man.
Yep. And then after that, we do have, nearly 2 months before the practical. So, you can see we've got the refresher in there. By the way, the triathlon is canceled. So we could run out to the hill and, do something out there if you want to. But
yeah,
otherwise,
that also says written retake, so at least if I fail, got that going for me.
Well, don't even plan to fail.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
Just say when you pass.
It's kind of hard being confident.
We will get you through it one way or another. So, yeah, we'll just work in the extra practices and shoot for the final on the 14th. And don't forget to practice on anybody that will allow it, because you'll want as much hands-on time as possible. You don't want to get rusty.
Of course not.
Well, I think that's it. So I'm gonna cut you guys off and go eat dinner, unless you want to have a lengthy conversation.
No, go enjoy your food, Jeff.
Okay. I will see you guys on Saturday.
Yeah, man. See you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.